Hey there, this is for all of the wedding photographers out there that have ever had a client who has made a request that makes you just a little nervous. If you've never had a client make a request that makes you a little nervous, then you just wait. It's coming. It's going to happen. It's just a part of the journey. It's going to be a reality for you at some point in your career. But let me tell you my story with this wedding. So this was a gorgeous couple. Gorgeous venue. It was an amazing day. We photographed this wedding in the middle of May, and the bride filled out her questionnaire and everything was wonderful. But then she had one little request that made me feel like, oh gosh, I hope I can do this. I don't know if I can. Her request was this. She wanted to have her entire venue in the background of her first look. So for some venues, this is fine, like an old plantation with a house and then oak trees, and like you could put your clients in the shade of the oak tree, like that would work great. But for this venue, we didn't have any of that. It was just a castle-like venue. I mean, it's beautiful. Looks like a castle, but there's nothing but an open field and a driveway in front of it. There are no trees. There are no areas of shade. It's just wide open. And I knew, based on their timeline, that we would be photographing this first look in the middle of the afternoon sun, like 1:30 p.m. first look. It is super bright. So I woke up the morning of this wedding and I was like, oh, please let it be overcast. And it was totally clear skies, not a cloud in the sky. It was hot, it was bright, and yet I needed to make this request happen for my bride. Now, there are some requests that happen that I have to educate my couples, and I have to say, you know what, this probably isn't smart, and it probably isn't going to make the best portrait. This is what I suggest instead. In this situation, in my heart, I knew that I didn't want to risk not doing this well, but I also knew deep down I might be able to make this work. So instead of going back to my bride and saying, no way, we needed to have a different plan of action for the first look, I went to her and I told her I had some reservations. I said, it's going to be hard. It's going to be in the harsh light, but I'm going to try to make it work. And so this video clip that I'm about to show you, it actually is a little snippet from our most recent KJ All Access episode where I allow thousands of photographers to watch me photograph behind the scenes shooting this entire wedding day. But I'm going to take out this snippet and just allow you to see how we handled this request, how we made this first look happen in the bright, harsh sun. And the other reason why, I didn't mention this before, the other reason why this is hard is because if you're a wedding photographer, you know that a first look is completely out of your control. You can set them up and put them in certain areas and then have them walk towards each other and engage and interact, but like you can't determine how they're going to turn their faces or which way they're going to look or which way they're going to hug. And so when you're in the harsh light, you're losing control, and this is a moment in a lighting scenario when you really need control. So there are so many things stacked against us, and yet I walked away from this wedding day. I walked away from this first look so thrilled with the results. There's a lot that goes in to setting up a first look in harsh light, and I hope you enjoy watching.
I didn't want to turn around.
I know. You were following instructions so well. Okay, I'm going to come out here and take a look.
Right. So
I think she wants the big look.
Right. So that's why I said I thought out here might work, because
I think the
you can
stone
get
is
more of like the
reflective.
grandness of it, but it's still reflecting. It's not as bright as that.
Yes. That's fine. Yep. Why could we do it just like right here? Yes. Hey, sorry, Ash. Hold on, let me give this a shot.
It's up to you. I'm not holding anything.
Okay. I think we could do it here.
Okay.
And I think it's
if they face their shadows.
I think it's just
Their lighting and location course too.
yes. So they just need to know they got to be looking this way always. Like we cannot turn them around. Okay.
Right. Well, we will, like, at least we can't.
We
can't
yes.
move from this side.
I think that's good. So let's pull him out to where Ash. Christian, you can come to where Ash is.
Yeah. So once you get him positioned, then I'll set this camera up. This is my wide camera.
Yep.
And then give us a second to get the other camera set up, and then we'll do the whole thing through the first time. They're gonna read those notes.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna do one reenactment with the gimbal for her.
Okay.
And then you can go to portraits. Does that work?
Yes.
Perfect.
You might have to repeat some of that. Sorry, I'm. So you can come all the way out to me, and that way we can see all of Dover and its grandeur. Right about.
I know.
I know. Right here is perfect. This might not be as reflective as that, and I'm thinking if we go this way, the sun is more that way than it is straight. So let's put them, Christian, let's put your feet right here. And the goal is for you to be able to see your shadow, which you can. That's wonderful. So how much have you told him?
Pretty much
Everything? Perfect.
Don't go towards her. Stand
You
still.
just stand, yes.
Stand
So
still.
why don't you go get her? And Michael, bring her to right about here, or like right here.
So is he gonna angle?
And I'm gonna have her walk and he look like this. And is that okay?
Sure. You're gonna have her go.
I was gonna have her come walk here.
Okay.
He can actually just maybe close his eyes.
And then kind of turn.
And then the first look is like all parallel with Dover. We're making dreams happen, people.
Do you want me to turn, or do you want me to?
You could turn to her. You just don't want to face the building,
Don't
because
face the
then
building.
yeah, you're doing great. I know it's hot.
Really quick, I want you to hear what I'm saying, but this is hard. This is really hard. If you're a photographer and you've been a photographer for any length of time, you know that this is not ideal. Shooting in harsh light, doing a first look in harsh light, but this is what the bride really wanted, and there is a way to try to make it possible. He needs to face his shadow at all times. That is how we guarantee that he doesn't have that awful light on his face. And the reason why Dover won't be super overexposed is because it's kind of dark in the background, and there is actually extra secondary light being pushed up on the front of their faces from that white stone.
From us, just so the light won't be too harsh. Okay. And I try to face them this way. Yeah. And the thing is, you need to just enjoy this. Okay. So don't worry too much about light. We'll make it work. Okay. Now I'm going to pull this veil. Do you want it on both shoulders? If you can. So let's tuck it in your armpit. Okay, let me find the corner. So that will keep it there somewhat. If it flies, it's still beautiful. And let me do this side. Okay, armpit. Okay, once you get to him, you can let it fly. Okay, give me 1 second. One second. You good, Ty? All right, Amanda, whenever you're ready.
I don't know about you, but I was watching this and I was nervous, and I was there. I know what happens. It's nerve-wracking shooting in light like this, but it worked. It was great. It was beautiful. Even Michael from that other angle worked out fine. I think the biggest takeaway from this for you guys is to pay attention to how I corrected and adjusted my angles constantly. The angle at which I'm shooting them, that matters more than anything, because like that's Michael's angle. That's my angle. See how there's no harsh light on their faces or his chest or her right side? That is because of where I'm standing. If I was a little bit to the left, she would have a line of light dividing the front of her body and her face. If I was a little bit more to the right, he would have that problem. So it's up to me to notice those things and to stay in position where I am. That's really important. So I'm rotating them to get that light off his face. I don't know if you could see that. I got rid of it a little bit. From the perspective that I'm shooting, it looked fine. It's almost unavoidable. I could have turned them just a little bit more, but then the sun starts to get a little hazy. So as I turn them into each other, you can see like the side of his face has no harsh light. Her face has no harsh light. The only place I'm seeing harsh light is on her shoulder blade. The very top of her shoulder, and it's not that bad. Very top of his neck is a little bit highlighted, but honestly it looks great. Something we could have done is pulled her veil over and it would have softened, but honestly if you do that too much, sometimes
it just looks like all veil and you can't really see the cut or the neckline of a dress. So, I mean, these are fine. I would have liked to pull the veil over on the back shoulder to soften that light. But, you know, hindsight's 2020. It's still great, but that's something that I would have changed if I had thought of it in the moment. So we don't sweat through our suit.
Temples.
Yeah, so and if you want to do a little tiptoe action so he doesn't have to, and then lean towards him. Yeah, there you go. Smiling here, gorgeous. Beautiful. Now, question, Emmy, do you mind setting that down and doing a veil fluff for me? Because Michael's in. Actually, it might be so bright here that let's go do a veil fluff with the ivy. You can hold tight. Let's go to the ivy so we don't sweat to death. So this is a great example to learn from. And you may be thinking, Katelyn, what are you talking about? If you go back, maybe like a minute, you might be able to see what I'm talking about. I got this sense about a minute back that Christian was hot and maybe it was time that we move on to a next location. Like, I think we've all kind of had enough here. And, you know, even just like little motions like you just did. I mean, the poor guy is in a tuxedo at the end of May, standing on reflective stone that's pushing harsh like light up in his face with the sun beating down on his head. And I'm telling him to like hold on and get close to another person. Me recognizing, oh my gosh, that picture. I love that picture. Sometimes when I take so many portraits, I forget which ones I love the most. I love that one. Anyway, sometimes us as photographers noticing when our couple is ready to move on, like when they're getting uncomfortable and it's getting just so hot, like that is such an important part of the client experience. I think a lot of photographers sometimes they get so in their own world that they are missing cues from their clients. Awkward cues, the I've had enough cues, maybe the hey, it's getting really hot cues. I think in this situation, Christian, he's so nice. He would never tell us like that he's had enough ever. He's so calm and polite. But I'm smart enough to know he's got to be dying in that tuxedo. It's his wedding day. There's a lot of nerves. Like, I just should be considerate of that. So we're doing these few shots walking. I love them. Oh, dream shot. Light is perfect. I love this. Really, the light was so good there. Anyway, but now I need to go to the shade. And I think it's important to point that out because if you can start to be more in tune with body language and what your clients may be feeling, and I know it's a lot to think about. It really is. It's a lot to process and try to manage as you're trying to capture great images, but it's something that really, I think, affects the client experience.
So if you loved that, if you loved watching us work with our couple, you loved us thinking through and verbalizing our thought process about how we're setting up the shot, the lighting situation, what we're looking at, what we're concerned about, you would absolutely love KJ All Access because this is a few minutes from a whole wedding day that you could potentially learn from. And right now, thousands of photographers are learning every single month from our behind the scenes video footage. We allow photographers to watch behind the scenes because we know that the best way to learn is not necessarily through watching a perfected course that you buy online because that is all staged. It's all pre-planned. And when you watch someone teach and learn and shoot in a real live wedding day, it's completely different. You see us in real life situations that are both challenging and that are struggles. You watch us make decisions spur of the moment. You see us interact with all different types of personalities. It's true life wedding photography, and it's one of the best educational decisions we have ever made because people are transforming the way that they shoot because they are members of KJ All Access, and we would love to have you join us. It's only $29 a month, and when you sign up now, you actually get this wedding and you get access to the previous month's content for free. So we'd love to have you. We're so excited for those of you who are going to join us and be KJ All Access members. So if you want to join and become a member of KJ All Access, you can do that by clicking the link below, and we cannot wait to get your new episode to you in your inbox.